Breaking news at 6, a reckless driver pursuit underway. Desmond Shaw live in Sky Cal with more following that white Chrysler minivan, Des.
That's right. Pretty reckless indeed here, Pat. Now, we believe this may have started in the Bell Gardens area, but it's LA County Sheriff's deputies from the industry station that have been in pursuit. We're near Rose Hills Cemetery right now. Really weird here. The suspect actually drove into a warehouse, came out the other side and pushed some barriers out of the way. At one point, drove up on a curb to get to evade the authorities as well. You see the spotlight there from Sheriff's deputies' helicopter overhead. And we heard from that air unit that they may have thrown 2 guns out the window at one point. Again, this was reckless driving that started all of this. It's been a really weird one. It seems like this driver has no idea what they're doing in an area that they may not be very familiar with, as is evidenced by driving through that warehouse. There's talk of spike strips possibly if they're able to coordinate that. A lot of units on this one trying to swarm the driver. Been pretty low speeds at this point. So the craziest thing we've seen is driving through the warehouse and back out again. And we'll just have to see how sheriff's deputies decide to handle this one, Pat.
Yeah, they're driving under 20 miles per hour, which is certainly good for law enforcement. Look, there's another law enforcement right there at the intersection. So, Des, you know, it's almost, you don't know what exactly to think here if this person is going to speed up as he's driving, which he is doing a little bit here. But just tell us about the area. You say he doesn't think he knows where he's going, or we assume that it's a he, but it's more than one person in this vehicle from what we understand.
Yeah, I was trying to get a look there. It looks like they had some spike strips right there, and that was really well executed. We'll listen to see if they said it was a good spike or not. It looked like it might have hit one of the tires. So the area, Pat, well, here's CHP right here as well. They've been kind of passively involved in this pursuit. So we're in this area over by Rose Hill Cemetery, just east of the 605, basically kind of between the San Gabriel River and the mountains right there near the Whittier and Hacienda Heights. So it's kind of a weird area. Now we're back out on Workman Mill, and if we take this southbound, this will lead us towards Whittier. This is the major road on this side of the highway. But it really just seemed like the suspect had no idea what they were doing. They were driving into the parking lot. In fact, they even drove into a water treatment plant over off of Crossroads Parkway and the 60 freeway, and that dead-ended. But they came back out, and you know, sheriffs, all law enforcement agencies, as they often do, they will leave a little bit of space if that suspect really wants to continue this, because again, they're just trying to keep the situation from escalating into anything that could be especially dangerous for them or the suspect. So that's why the suspect was able to get out of that situation. So now we're back out on Workman Mill. Yeah, and we're in this minivan, obviously not a very fast vehicle, got a very high center of gravity. So, at the very least, safe for the public at least, that we haven't been seeing the really high speeds so far. And
it'll be interesting to find out if they actually made contact with this vehicle. I watched it swerve a little bit. I think Mike Rogers might have some more information on that. Was it successful, Mike?
Hi, Pat. No, Sheriff's Department are talking about that right now. He drove around the spike strip. Yeah. And I can tell you, deputies on the ground asked if they could do a pit maneuver, which was denied. And it could have something to do with what Desmond was saying, that higher point of gravity makes it a little bit difficult. I can also tell you they were just told not to re-engage the suspect. Sheriff's Department running a bit of a fine line here. The want is only reckless driving. However, during the pursuit, the suspect threw out 2 handguns. So we're running that middle ground of technically the want is just reckless driving, but they potentially were armed at some point. So how do you handle this?
And that's, when Des is talking about this is a reckless driving pursuit. And can we confirm that they actually had handguns and threw them out the window?
Yeah, so the deputies recovered those guns.
So they do have them?
Yeah.
So that certainly did happen, which again, and Desmond, you can attest to this, that would obviously be another reason for them not to engage this vehicle. Is it slowing down again, Des? Although we could see them on the right side of your screen pushing that barrier, Desmond. We're showing a replay of what happened earlier.
Yeah, that was pretty wild, and it looked like that warehouse was open, and I mean, it's fortunate for the suspect that that the other side of the warehouse was open and they were able to get through. But that must have been quite a spectacle for people inside, going, "Who is this Yahoo?" And then they see all of the sheriff's deputies coming to surround the warehouse. But yeah, they gently pushed that barrier out of the way to continue the pursuit, and it just you can just tell by the way this person is driving. They really just seem to be very confused. Let's widen out and show you this area. So we're, again, right next to the 605. We're on Pioneer Boulevard. There's another sheriff's deputy there going the opposite direction. So this will take us down. We're basically into Whittier now, and we'll continue into Norwalk as well if they continue on Pioneer Boulevard. But it's clear that this suspect doesn't really seem to have any idea of what they want to do, just that they are not interested in surrendering right now.
But yeah, but they got to know that they're certainly, even if they backed off a little bit, that there's a lot of law enforcement in the area and overhead. Okay, now is he going down the wrong? Did you say wrong way?
Yeah, wrong way on that street, just to pass that vehicle right here, and we'll see how sheriffs, how they react with all this. As Mike had just said that they were told not to approach this vehicle, and sheriff's deputies typically the first, from what we've been seeing in recent years, to cancel a pursuit or anything, and it looks like they are essentially in tracking mode at this point, but they really hate to see driving on the wrong side of the road. But like Mike said, now that they have, we know that there were a couple of handguns involved as well. They're definitely going to be loath to give this one up completely. I'm
interested, guys, to find out. We know that this the sheriff's department, but Desmond, you mentioned California Highway Patrol. Was this vehicle on the freeway at one point?
It was on the 60 on and off. That was where we were first hearing about that they were pursuing the vehicle, even though this came out of the Bell Gardens area, we believe. Yes, it was on the freeway. We had heard some talk about seeing if CHP would take this one over. I've never heard any more on that, but we did see that one of those CHP cruisers down there, so it looks like they're involved in some capacity in this one. But essentially, my understanding is still just tracking mode at this point. The helicopter is calling out the streets. Is this no, I was going to see if this was a dead end. No, it looks like it's going to circle back around. Yeah, it looks like it's a circular street here where, but that spotlight on him, and that may be agitating this suspect a little bit. Earlier they had the spotlight off, but then it almost looked like maybe the helicopter was in jeopardy of losing this vehicle to the darkness, and so they've had the spotlight on the vehicle ever since.
And Mike, how many guys did we say? There's more than one person in the car.
Yeah, we believe there are 3 people inside the car. We think it's 2 men and a woman. We don't know who the driver is, but that's the makeup of the occupants as we heard it. Now, it looks like the windows are a little bit tinted, so maybe hard to see exactly, but the initial information was that.
There's a cruiser right there.
Yeah.
There's another one. And another one.
So he did this loop street that just kind of comes right back out to where he started, so it gave him a chance to kind of get in there.
And you know what? Wow.
And 3 more.
Oh, they're trying to box them in, Dad? Well, they certainly got close enough.
Well, they were pretty close, but then you kind of saw them move out of the way. And again, I know that probably frustrates some of the folks that watch this, thinking that it would be easy enough to end this. But obviously, law enforcement, they have a lot of different factors that they need to think about, and you're just not going to see them typically box in a suspect like that. Oh, are they going to do a pit maneuver right here? It sure looks like it. Oh, it looked like they were coming in.
Well, they are really trying to intimidate this guy, that's for sure.
I mean, all of a sudden, I thought Mike had said that they were talking about not to engage the suspect, but they are awfully engaged. Yeah, you know what? I think they are. They're talking about coming in for a pit maneuver, and here it comes right now. Let's see how this vehicle reacts and spins around.
My.
Oh, unfortunately, into those innocent folks, those poor folks' vehicle right there. Oh, they're going to have
but look at this, Des. They are boxing this vehicle.
But, yep.
They're right in front.
Yeah, now they are. They came in, and coming right out with weapons drawn, not wasting any time at all. Yeah.
You don't see that very often.
I can't remember the last time. I can't remember the last time we saw sheriffs getting that aggressive with a pursuit, but I heard the airship saying, if you're going to do it now, and 2 seconds later, spun him around. It was executed very well, but this is one of the factors that sheriffs have to think about is, now we've got some innocent folks with some property damage that will definitely be unhappy. A little bit of collateral damage. Fortunately, no one injured in all of that, but they're out here, weapons drawn, and you've got 5 guns trained on this driver right now, and they are yelling for them to get out of the vehicle right now.
And you know what? They didn't hesitate. As soon as they did that pit maneuver, they pulled up, boxed that car in, and jumped out with their weapons. And as you said, that is something we don't see very often, right? Because
Right.
you're concerned about that in the first place, especially if there were weapons involved.
Right.
You know, you put yourself in the line of fire, but they seem to know.
Yeah, generally
Better
police
than we do.
don't like to position themselves windshield to windshield there, because especially if they were already tossed 2 guns out the window. But you know, they kind of ran out of options. They spun around. The only way for that suspect to get out was to drive forward. So you know, that's kind of the only way they can do it. Now, you know, law enforcement doors, we see them with their doors open right there, and that's because the doors have ballistic panels in them. So that's why they're kind of hiding behind, not, I don't say hiding, but positioned behind those doors. That way, if for whatever reason that suspect was to, you know, open fire, those doors would offer them some protection. The bottom half, not the window, but the bottom half has a ballistic panel in it.
Well, they haven't got out of the vehicle yet. I wonder what they could possibly be thinking. And I'm trying to see, Des, from your light and position. I can't really see inside. Obviously we know there's a driver, but not able to discern. Well, door's opening, Des.
Yeah, and this person needs to be extremely careful. I saw them with both hands on the steering wheel. I'm sure they were yelling to them to very slowly open the door with one hand, and now they've got both hands back on the wheel. Very tense here for both parties, both for the suspect and for sheriff's deputies, and you know, the other people that are in the car as well. They're going to want them to get out one by one, certainly starting with the driver. They're talking about having less than lethal ready as well. I have to imagine that they have a canine en route to this one as well if they're not already on the scene. Don't want to zoom out too much. Want to be sure that we're have a good shot for you on how this is going to end. But there's a lot of other law enforcement besides this one cruiser and the 5 officers, obviously. So let's just hope that this person realizes it's over and they don't try to resist anymore.
Yeah, we certainly hope not. And I, again, can't really tell who else is inside this vehicle, but from your vantage point, Des, you don't see much movement, except you said you see one person with both hands on the wheel. They have opened the door. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, just both hands on the wheel, and a very, very little, if any, movement from this person. You know, which is good. Definitely no sudden movements. Don't want to see anything like that. Don't want to see any reaching around or anything like that. And you know, the other people, I couldn't tell if it's the other 2 people suspected to be in the car or in the back seat, or I don't think there's anyone in that front passenger seat right there. Let's just double in for another second to see how this looks. It's a little bit grainy, but getting you another view of this driver. You can see their lips moving there, so some communication happening with this driver. But so far, not much, if any, movement other than opening the door.
And Pat, we did just hear deputies say that there are 3 people in total in the car.
Okay.
So they've got eyes on them through the windshield. So this, again, they said 2 men and a woman inside that car.
Well, now it's just a matter of time, a matter of wills. You can imagine what they're saying to that suspect, and what the suspect is saying back to them, as Desmond said, that he can tell from his vantage point that there is some communication going on between that driver and law enforcement. But so far, the only movement we have seen is for them to open the door on the driver's side, and that's it so far. So we're sort of in a standoff here, and as we've seen before, guys, we know that they can send in a canine unit if they choose.
And they do have one on the way. I just heard them request that canine unit. So
here we go. Huh. That looks like someone climbing out of the back seat through the passenger side, or was that the suspect? That was kind of weird. Not sure if this is the driver or not. You see that red sight though that is trained on this person's back. So here we have one of 3 now coming out and complying. You'll see a couple officers come and detain this person as the others continue to train their lethal and less than lethal weapons on this minivan.
All right, so one person so far. And you say, Des, you know that they have lethal and non-lethal. Hopefully this will serve as a catalyst for the other people in the van to get out.
Yeah, and I heard them just calling for a canine as well. And if you know, if there's any hesitation with the suspects, if they get the canine there quickly and get that dog up there and amped up and barking, you know, that may provide the motivation that these suspects need to finally surrender.
And let's remind our viewers that this was a reckless driving pursuit at first, and then during the course of this chase, Officers saw people throw guns out the window, at least two that they have retrieved.
Right, yeah, they were able to recover them from the street after they tossed them out there.
So if we're waiting on another man and a woman, that's what we've heard.
Yep.
We're waiting for them to get out of the van. So far, we've just seen one guy. And Des, is that the driver, or do we know?
Yeah, it was weird. It was. I thought I almost saw like shoes coming into the front seat and then stepping into that and out. And then now that the driver's seat is empty, there was just something that looked kind of odd to me, like almost like they were trading seats. Maybe the person in the back swapping with the driver. I'm just not positive that was the driver. But now we see another person coming out. This looks like, yeah, someone here that is trying to make their way out. And again, they need to be very, very ginger with their movements here as they come out. And it looks like this is the female now who is out, and she looks to be complying.
Yeah, I see her hands up.
And Des, real quick, I played back the video of that driver getting out, and I think what you saw, and I'm not sure why he did it this way, but he put both his legs up on the seat and then kind of turned and got out of the car. I'm not sure why he didn't just put his legs out of the car, but it looks like he put his feet up on the seat for some reason and then kind of turned and got out.
Okay, and we
very weird.
Can pretty much confirm this is a female passenger.
Yeah, it looks like this is the female that they knew was in the car. So that's 2 of 3, 2 in custody, 1 more to go inside of this minivan.
And Pat, I can hear them on the radio here. They're giving commands over their car's loudspeakers to the person inside. They're mentioning a little bit of difficulty because of the way the car got pinned. They kind of only have this one usable door to get the people out. I don't know if there's something wrong.
That's right, because it's up against the cars that were parked on the street, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Who, as Des said, will have some damage.
So
property damage.
They were giving commands to the passengers to climb out over the driver's seat.
So that could be another reason for the hesitation. Guys, would you say that they were, listening to officers?
Oh, so you know what? Now they're talking about, so that first guy, Des, you were right, and I have to go back and look at this again, but they're saying the driver is still in the van. So I don't know if
so
that's
weird.
At some point, if that person, it looks like they may have swapped seats.
Like crawled in the back seat?
Yeah, it looks like that driver at some point kind of slipped in the back and that one of those passengers climbed over the seat there. So now they're going to go in and pull the driver out.
Here we go. Yeah, deputies are not going to waste any more time and let this turn into a lengthy standoff. They're all gathered behind that shield right there with their guns, and they're just going to go right in and yank the driver out and bring this to an end.
Wow.
Here you see, well, they're trying to, kind of weird. Do they got an arm on this person? Boy, this is kind of a weird one. Okay, looks like they got him. Looks like they got him down on the ground, dragging him out. Now they're just going to clear the vehicle, make sure there's nothing else in there that they couldn't see, and hopefully we're going to see 4 fingers for code 4, meaning an all clear, and this weird situation will be diffused finally. Pioneer Boulevard at Bryant Court in Whittier. Here they go, dragging him out.
Oh, yeah, he was putting up a struggle, like he can't walk.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, they do have the driver on the ground.
Yeah,
they're dragging him too.
Yeah. Well, he knows the jig is up, and he's going to jail tonight, and I'm sure he's not very happy about that. So, but this is quite resistant for sure. Just basically like dead weight there, making four deputies carry him there, and. They'll be in the back of a cruiser soon.
That's for sure. And this is certainly one to follow up because, again, started out as a reckless driving pursuit, and then here you have weapons being thrown out the window and 3 people in custody, one certainly more reluctant than the others, the driver. Okay, Des, we're going to let you call this code 4.
That's a code 4.
All right, and we'll talk to you later, Des. Thanks.